just like being healthy, eating wise and fitness wise, it's the ultimate like stress reliever. Like no matter how bad your day is going or how much stress you have going or just things are going wrong, like just to take that break and work out, it just relieves all that. So I mean, and it puts you in a good mindset and gives you energy. There's just so many things to it. And the biggest thing is just to take the first step and like take those first steps, figure out something you can be consistent at. What can I do for the rest of my life? It multiplies over time.
Welcome to the LandLife podcast with your host, PJ Reilly.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the LandLife podcast. My name is PJ Reilly. Guys, like I always say, if you're getting value from this podcast, and we know you are, I already know you are, like, subscribe, and do me the biggest favor and leave a comment. Even if it's one line, I'll give you an example. Here, I'm going to tell you what to write in the comment section. Great show. He has great guests. Let's see. I really like the podcast. There you go. 3 examples right there of what you can put when you leave a comment for this podcast. So you don't have to think about it, because I know it's kind of tricky sometimes. So 3 examples there. Make sure you do that. Guys, at the end of the podcast, our guest Kip is going to give you kind of a way you can get hold of him. So if what he says resonates with you and you're learning a lot and you want to kind of keep the conversation going, he's going to give you ways to contact him, email, social media, all that good stuff. And Kip's everywhere. So guys, today, our guest Kip Knippel. How's it going, man?
It's going awesome. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Both in Arete. He's got a sweet shirt on.
We're representing today.
We are absolutely representing. Yeah. We're not selling it though, I swear.
No.
I kind of get like the thought that people think I'm maybe selling the group. But not yet. You got to qualify for this group. This is not something you just jump into, but it is a cool group. Cool guys. And so Kip, where are you at in the country?
So I live in the Twin Cities in Minneapolis, in Minnesota.
Okay. Now I want to give a quick background on Kip, just a really quick one before he does the real one. Kip is a headhunter and an entrepreneur. He's in Arete, so that's huge. The dude ran for state senate in Minnesota, and I told him before this, I thought it was really cool. And I say because, I mean, a lot of us talk about politics and stuff. We have our issues with things, but we don't actually do much about it. Kip decided to run for state senate in his state, and that's pretty awesome. The guy's a triathlete. Like, dude, I don't know how you have time to train for a triathlete. And we talked about this before too. I'd be afraid of the swimming part. So, so Kip, give us like a background on you, like, catch us up to speed, like from where you were to where you are now.
Yeah. So born and raised in Minnesota, went to college here, played football in college, ran track in college, actually was in a play in college, like totally out of the story there. Like I went with my girlfriend then, now my wife, we went to see Good Will Hunting. And like when the movie was done, I'm gonna try out for the play in the spring. I don't care what it is, I'm just gonna try out. And so I tried out and was in a play in college, which was totally awesome. Like met a whole group of people I would have never met. Went to law school. And then as you mentioned, like my last semester of law school, I made the decision to run for the Minnesota State Senate. So I ran my campaign while I was studying for and took the bar exam.
Wow.
It was a close race. It was not a win, so I took a big L on that. But it was an amazing experience.
Yeah,
got to meet, as you can imagine, all kinds of different people from all different walks of life, and it was absolutely fantastic. And then graduated law school, practiced corporate mergers and acquisitions, commercial real estate law for a number of years, and then went to CB Richard Ellis, big commercial real estate company, and was there for a number of years. And then kind of got exposed to this headhunting business and met with some people who referred business back and forth, and then they recruited me for like a year to join them, and I did. I basically took to all my real estate clients, instead of doing real estate, started doing executive search for them locally and around the country. And kind of from day one, all my clients were my own. Like I won the work, I did the work. They never heard of my firm until I introduced them, and then quickly wised up and launched my own firm and been off and running.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. So many questions about the job market too. Like I mean, there's so many things going on right now. Like but real quick, Kip Search is the name of the company, correct?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. As you can see. Yeah. That's pretty. I like the logo. I like all that stuff in the background. That's pretty nice.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So I started out, it was just me, and then we've since grown our team. About half our team's in Minnesota, half's down in Texas. where you just were
Yeah.
speaking, and then now you've got someone out on the East Coast too.
Cool. So, okay, cool. So what kind of, are we doing virtual assistants too? Do you have any sort of like virtual online assistants? But what is the team comprised of? Like, what are people helping you with?
Yeah, so it's myself, and then I have like a chief operating officer who's also an EOS integrator. So I don't know if you're familiar with EOS or traction, but that's
Sort of.
EOS stands for like entrepreneurial operating system. It's just a way for people to take like their entrepreneurial business and like systematize things, put processes in place so you can really scale your business, to take it from just like, shooting from your hip to actually an actual business and putting all those things in place. So I have a COO operator, and then all the rest of my team are recruiters. So I have no virtual assistants and things like that. We're talking about, as part of our planning for this year, kind of putting some of those things in place. But right now it's just, myself, my COO, and then everybody else are actual recruiters.
Okay. Yeah, I have virtual assistants, and they're really helpful with like administrative type tasks, spreadsheets type things, getting you information so that you're not having to go get it. So they just help with actually, I like them a lot. They help with a ton. Yeah, they help with a ton.
Really good things. I just need to like really look into it and then pull the trigger.
Upwork, that's where I got mine. Upwork.com was a good spot to get.
Sweet.
Okay, so real quick now, what does the job market look like right now? Kind of in a broad scale. You see it on the inside, where all we do is see what the news says.
I mean, honestly, for what we do, so we do executive search. So it's usually C-level roles at companies down to director, which means something different every company, but they're all leadership roles. CEOs, presidents, chief financial officers, chief technology officers, chief operations officers. So it's not mass hiring. It's like key critical roles for companies. And we, no matter what the economy is doing, no matter what anything's doing, our business tends to stay pretty steady, just because you always need those people, no matter what's going on in the market. Whether you're growing your business or shrinking, you need those leaders to help fuel things.
Yeah.
So our business is booming, and we have big goals to scale this year. But I would say the job market's amazing. Like, from someone working at Starbucks up to like the C-suite, if you're really good at whatever it is you do, you have a million options, and it is a huge war for talent. And you hear all these things of like these giant tech companies, Google and others, that are laying off tons of people. Yeah. Well, during COVID, they overhired, and now they're kind of right-setting things. And there's all these people that have been working remote, sitting at home and not really working. Like, they work for Google, but they're not really doing anything. So they kind of figured that out. And I've written tons and tons and tons on this. All these tech people that are getting laid off, there's a ton of opportunities at other companies that aren't, quote, tech companies, that need technology people. Because every company, no matter what your business is, you need technology, whether it's, actual IT people, or it's like social media, or it's video, or it's kind of all that technology stuff that tech companies are the leaders on. Every company needs that kind of stuff. So there's tons of options at non-tech companies for all these people that are, being laid off for the big tech companies. But honestly, the economy's and the job market's amazing. I mean, if you're good at whatever it is you do, you have a million options, and people are be pounding down your door.
That's crazy. I did not realize that. I expected you to say, the opposite, like, things are going really bad and there's nobody hiring anybody, because at the lower levels, it feels like nobody wants to go to work. I mean, what I've seen, it seems like the lower tiers, like, nobody wants. I mean, you can only have so many Bitcoin millionaires, social media influencers, stay at home-based business entrepreneurs that are actually making any money.
Right.
I mean, your mortgage is still coming due, but I just don't see people. Wherever I go, it's like we're short-staffed. Everybody's short-staffed. They can't help you because they're short-staffed. The airlines. I was on an airline last night that seems to consistently cancel my flights while I'm sitting in an airport, and it's been, actually, we're closing in on like a very high percentage. I'd say around 75% of the time, these airlines are just dropping the ball. I mean, there's no employees. So I expected you to say the opposite at the higher end. But so you're saying at the higher end, there's still positions to fill.
Absolutely.
Okay. But at the lower end, maybe not so much.
Yeah. And it's funny. Like, you talk about flights. I can't remember if it was an Arete thing or something else I was flying, and like, they canceled our flight, or they delayed it because they couldn't find a pilot.
Oh my
I'm
God.
like, what? You can't find a pilot to fly the plane? I'm
That's
like, how did that
insane.
happen? But so yeah, I mean, that
Yeah.
kind of stuff is happening all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. I mean, I've had entire airports fairly recently shut down, where they had everybody at every counter, Southwest, United, all these guys, they have a huge line of people, and there you can see what they're saying to the person in the front. They're like, we're shutting the whole place down. And I'm like, why? Oh, it's weather everywhere. It's
Right.
weather in every city.
Yeah.
Like, guys, just say you don't have enough staff and
Right.
prepare accordingly. But
Yeah.
anyway, all right. So I had a question for you. So
Sure.
let's say I'm a 45-year-old man, which I
Yes.
am,
Yeah.
which I am. Let's just say I get laid off from my big job that I've had for 25 years, right? I've been at this C-suite position for a long time. Maybe I don't know what to do, right? Like, where do I go? What do I do? How do you want someone to come to you prepared?
Oh, that's a great question. First, I'll say really what our business is, and most recruiting firms, companies hire us to go find people.
Mhm.
We're not representing people looking for jobs.
Okay.
But having said that, I mean, the tried and true thing is whatever role you're in, I mean, you want to always be networking and like keeping that network strong so that when you need it, you can lean on it, not starting it up. Okay, now I need to, leverage my network. So I mean, that's the most important thing. But I think it's important to like talk to recruiters like myself and others. And because really, I mean, if you're looking at opportunities, you want to leverage your network. And, if you know somebody at a company where you see an opportunity, you want them to kind of make a warm introduction. Or, we can kind of do the same thing and kind of manufacture a warm introduction so it's not totally cold.
Yeah.
And the thing I always tell people is, even small companies have technology or software that's looking for keywords in people's resume or whatever they're submitting online before an actual human ever sees it. So anything you can do to cut through that and actually get to a person, which is what I try to do, even though our business is, representing companies trying to find people. I mean, inevitably when people hear what we do and what I do, they reach out all the time. And I always just try to help people like just in a pay it forward model. I think if you help enough people do enough good things come back around.
Absolutely.
So what I always tell them is that we're just trying to actually get to a human. It's not guaranteed open doors, but it certainly helps your chances and helps separate yourself from the crowd. It gives you more at bats to look at opportunities, hear a company's story, share your story, see if it's a culture fit, a core values fit. And so that's really kind of how I try to help people.
Okay.
In
Okay.
that way.
What about people's social media? How often are you, when you work with the company, say you have this big company, we need this position. Are you going when these people, when you find these people, are you also going to their social media saying, hey, wait a minute, this guy, he sees this, but pictures, he's not.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I would say companies probably do that more than we would,
Mm-hmm.
but as part of like when you're getting kind of down to the finish line and you're trying to do background checks and vetting, like that's when that stuff happens. But if your like resume and your story doesn't line up with your LinkedIn profile, which that's probably the number one social media platform for us,
Okay.
then there's a problem. So that's the one that I'm always looking at constantly, and companies are too. I mean, your LinkedIn profile, and this is more kind of directed at maybe like millennials and Gen Z and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
they're gonna look at your Instagram, they're gonna look at your Facebook, your TikTok, Twitter, and if you have stuff that's just like scandalous on there, that's a problem. So like, you don't need to post every like crazy thing you do
Yes.
in life online because it's always going to follow you. And we've had roles where, stuff's kind of blown up because somebody, usually it's not, a millennial doing something crazy, but maybe somebody said something or posted something just super polarizing, which people have a right to their opinion no matter what it is, but you don't necessarily need to put that on blast.
Yeah. But the companies also have the right to not hire somebody who they think
right.
It's going to cause them issues if they're posting all these crazy things. So I did speak at an event yesterday, and social media was brought up on a panel discussion that we were on. And it was, I try to convey that social media, it's not an ego thing. Pull that out of the mix, right? When you're posting pictures of yourself in maybe meeting with some other business people, right? Maybe in a speaking engagement, something like that. it's not an ego thing. People have to pull that out of their head. It's basically you're building a portfolio, right? Of who you are and what you want people to see of you. And that's what you put out on blast, right? You put those pictures of you and the family at the beach, maybe you and, let's say, picture with Ed and Andy and Arete, right? You put those kinds of things up there, right? You want people to see you at your best. You don't put you're hammered at the bar,
right?
On a Thursday night with your brother, getting in a fight or something like that. You just don't post that. You don't have to. You don't have to post your political issues. I mean, if you want, if that's part of your gig, cool, do it. The downside is that company doesn't have to hire you if they see that. Right. So it's a two-edged sword, I guess. You can post these things that get you a lot of likes and subscribes and all this, but you have to take the bad with the good. They're not gonna, maybe they're not gonna hire you for that. Does that sound about right?
Totally. And I'm a big fan, like, as far as like my own social media, of like Gary Vaynerchuk. Yeah. And just like cranking out tons of content on all the platforms all the time, and like ignore the likes, ignore the follows, ignore the comments. I mean, you can respond to comments, but like, don't get too high when people say great things about you, and don't get too low and they say negative things. But just keep it on blast, and like, but again, not polarizing things unless you have a platform like that's what you want to do. I mean, like Andy Frisell, I mean, that's his deal, but that helps grow his business. But he's not also looking for a job. He's just running his company, and everyone has a right to their opinion. And I'm like super pro freedom, pro free markets, pro, all that kind of stuff. But again, you have the right to say whatever you want. But on the flip side, the person receiving on the other end this is actually the best line I've heard, like along these types of things. Like, you have a right to your opinion, but you don't have a right for the other person to take you seriously.
That is true. I like that.
So like, if a company doesn't want to hire you because of what you said, that's totally their right, even though you have a right to say it. So you just, you gotta be cognizant of that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that makes a ton of sense. If you have your own business, let's say you run a giant sports supplement company, like Andy, you can pretty much say whatever the hell you want. I don't think he's going to be looking for a job anytime soon. But if you're not at that level,
and you can, I mean, like, and it'll attract the kind of companies that you'd want to work with, and maybe sway the ones that you wouldn't. So I mean, that's okay too.
Yeah. I guess it's all up to you, but you can't really get mad if somebody doesn't want to hire you because of a certain thought or things you're constantly posting.
But I agree with what your mantra was about, like, when you're at your speaking thing. It's like, and I always try to say this, like, your social media presence is like the digital representation of your reputation. Yeah. So it's not ego. You just want to be relevant. It's free marketing. I mean, unless you're doing paid stuff, but it's like free organic marketing. So what you used to have to like take out ads in the paper or billboards or things like that, I mean, it's just free to have your, and you want people to remember your face, but it's not about, I always tell people, like, I'm a content creator, not a consumer. So I'm like, I put my stuff out there, but I'm not like looking at myself. Like, I put it out there, like I'll do a podcast like this, and then it'll be out there, but I don't sit back and like watch it 50 times and think, I just, it's out there, and like, you move on to the next thing. And it's not an ego thing I'm sure that's, for some people it might be, but
you're not hitting refresh every 30 seconds to see how many more likes you got.
Yeah, I'm sure. Come on, some people that do that.
This is gold, guys. You keep hitting refresh. Come on, nothing.
Right. Yeah, I know.
All right, Kip. Let's switch gears a little bit.
Yeah, and it's reps too. I mean, the more you do it, the better you're going to get. Yeah. And the less cringeworthy you'll feel looking at yourself. And the other thing is, and Gary Vee might even said this too. I mean, just like shoot a video and post it, but don't watch it. Just create. You don't have to watch your own stuff and feel creepy about it, unless you want to like critique yourself. But I don't know.
Yeah. And initially, it will be cringy. Well, it probably will, unless you're a naturally good speaker. It probably will be pretty cringy. My first few podcasts, I mean, I didn't know what to say. My first few videos were terrible, but I kind of built it like that. So I didn't know what to do. My very first video, I have this dry erase board back here. And I was like, you know what? Let's just make a video. I got to try. I got to start, right? I was so nervous and scared of posting a video on YouTube. So I was like, screw it. Let's just make one. And so I'm like, all right, what do I know? Well, I buy and sell land. Let's just make a video about how to buy and sell land. I literally hit record right there, stood up, walked back here, and started writing on that board. So it was not good at all. It was really, really bad. I mean, I stuttered. I stood in front of my writing, but if you don't do that, you're never going to get better, right? If you don't start somewhere, you're never going to get better. So got to start somewhere. I want to switch gears though. You're a triathlete.
Yes.
I really want to talk about this because this is super cool and crazy interesting. You played college football, you were college track, so that kind of helps out a lot, I would imagine. But what got you into being a triathlete?
Yeah, so I grew up like playing sports like my whole life. Like through high school, I played football, basketball, and baseball. And then I went to college thinking I was going to play all three too, which is funny. But luckily, our football team did well enough that football like really went into like the basketball season because our team went. So we lost my sophomore year one game for the national championship.
Wow.
And then my senior year, like 2 games to the national championship. So we went far. So we went into the basketball season. What's that?
What school is this?
So it's St. John's. It's a Division III school.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
But John Gallardi, who was our coach, he's since passed away. He's the all-time winningest coach at any level of college football ever. Wow. And he'll probably never be beat because he started coaching when he was like 28 and coached till he was almost 90.
Good God.
And he just won like a lot. So because like basketball really wasn't a reality because they overlap so much. And then my freshman year, I was trying out for baseball. And then the track coach approached me. And I kind of went back and forth and kind of did both for a little bit, like just like in the tryout phase. And I just decided I just want to get faster for football. Yeah. I don't want to be, hitting in the cage all winter long. So then that's why I did track. So I did like indoor and outdoor track and definitely helped. But then you graduate college, didn't become a pro athlete.
What?
Surprise.
That happens?
Yeah.
I did not realize that.
And I've always like loved lifting weights, that kind of stuff. I think my dad started me lifting when I was in like 6th grade. But then I was just like looking for something, I don't know, competitive or something. So I just went, so Lifetime Fitness is my club. And I just went to one of the trainers one day, like in the dead of winter in Minnesota, which is horrible for those that don't know, and just said, I just want to do something different. So they made me get like a heart rate monitor. And I took one of these tests with a mask on the treadmill that gives all your VO2 max and your different zones and stuff. And so it cranked out like 6 weeks of cardio workouts on the treadmill. So I did that, did the test again, did another 6 weeks, did the test again. Then I was running outside and then I could run 3 miles pretty consistently and then 6 and then 9. And then someone said, well, you should run a marathon. I'm like, yeah, I don't know.
It's a long way.
One day I went out to run 9 and ran 14 and felt amazing. So I signed up for my first marathon, did that in like June, and then immediately signed up for another one in the fall. And so I just started doing marathons first. So just something competitive, like against yourself. And I'm not like built like a marathoner.
No, you're not.
No, but it was just like, I just wanted to keep moving, keep moving forward and finish it. And then a year later, I did my first triathlon and then just got hooked. And then, I don't know, do a bunch of triathlons every year and still do a bunch of half marathons. Kept doing marathons for a while, and then it's just hard to train for both because they're different.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of got hooked on the triathlon thing. So now, and then COVID kind of shut all that crap down. So that sucked. But now that it's back, I'm probably not at the same velocity I was before COVID, but I try to do, a number of triathlons and half marathons every summer. And it's just something competitive to work for where, again, I'm not built like most of these runners, but some tries have, it's called the Clydesdale division. So for guys that weigh over 200 pounds, they have their own division. When I have those, I can like get on the podium.
Nice.
Like first, second, third. So that's fun. But if it's just straight age group, like there's guys I went to college with that do some of them with me, and like, they weigh like 130 pounds and they're winning them, but I'm like, I think I'm like 215 right now. It's like, I don't like just every little ounce you can take weight off your body, it just makes you go so much faster. And my old next door neighbor was a big like cyclist. And he used to say, at some point because you can buy bikes with carbon fiber and all this kind of stuff to make them lighter and lighter. He's like, at some point, Kip, he's like, it's about $1,000 per ounce lighter, as far as buying bike equipment and stuff. He goes, it might just make sense. He wasn't talking to me specifically, but like, why don't you just like lose a few ounces of weight rather than spend $1,000 to lose, which makes sense.
Stop lifting weights, Kip.
Yeah.
No more protein. We're going to cut everything out, drop your calories, a few days a week of fasting.
Yeah.
I think 130 pounds, your buddy, you kind of float on water at 130.
Right. I mean, they just are so fast.
Yeah.
Just like biking and running, and it's effortless, going up the hill. And it is kind of, you really can buy speed, like with bikes, with triathlon bikes. And I remember one of my first tries, I was going along and you could hear a tri bike coming with carbon wheels. Like it has a sound. And I just had like a road bike and you could just hear that sound coming. And people of all different shapes and sizes are doing triathlons, but like when you feel like you're in like your best physical shape and like someone that isn't necessarily just zooms by you on this tri bike, you're like, oh, it's demoralizing. But anyway, that's all part of the deal too.
That's awesome. How many times a year?
You need to be humbled.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately that happens. Somebody has a little bit better equipment, a few extra things that are helping them out, and it is demoralizing. But you are 215. I'm sure that guy that flew by you, bike all included, was what, 150?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, these bikes, like you can pick them up with one finger. I mean, that's how light they are. There's nothing to them.
Yeah,
but they're just so fast.
I can imagine. And how often a year are you doing these competitions?
Let's think. So at the peak, I think I did like 8 a year.
Oh my God.
Then I think it's more like 4 or 5 tries a year, and then maybe, I don't know, a handful of half marathons. I mean, it kind of depends from year to year. I'm not doing the same amount as I did before COVID.
Yeah.
Just because I've really gotten way back into like lifting heavier and like I love it. And so I don't love swim training.
It makes you look good. You get to look like the athlete when you lift the weights.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of times when you are the athlete, you are competing in all these sports and you're really getting good, but your body doesn't always reflect that. Right. You don't have the big muscles and it's kind of a mental game, I think.
Totally.
When I was fighting, I would be about 185, 190 pounds. Right now I'm like 220. So you didn't look like a fighter. You go walk around with your family and nobody looks at you like you're anything important. Put on some muscles and they're like, wow, he must play for the, in the NFL or something.
Yeah.
Right. You're like, nah, I'm much worse than I've ever been in my life, but it looks good.
Yeah. That's funny. It's true. That's funny.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So you've done them up to 8 times a year. Holy cow. How does that affect your business? And actually, how does that impact your business when you're doing?
So it's basically, and again, I'm not doing this right now, but like in the peak of that, like you just get up really early in the morning and do like the long bike rides or the long runs, like before anybody else, like in your house is up. And, on weekends, it's get up really early and do the really long ones. So, I mean, it's totally doable. And it's funny how many, like business owners, CEOs are triathletes. I mean, that's another kind of nice thing about the group. I mean, that's a lot of who they are. And it's funny, I have like people that are like, in like the 60, 70-year-old age group. And it gets easier and easier the older and older you get because people start dropping off. But once you get to a certain point, the people that are still doing it are elite. And it's hard to beat them because they're retired.
Yeah.
And they're training full time for these tries. And like the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys in the world. So 2019, right before COVID, went to the Ironman World Championship out in Kona, Hawaii, not to compete, but just to watch.
Yeah.
And that was the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. I mean, for a week, it was people like, I think the youngest competitor was like 18 and the oldest was like 82. Jeez. And then all their families there. But everybody for a week straight are just like ultra fit. And every time you go outside, like we were talking before we hopped on here when you're down in Texas, people are out running and biking and just exercising and swimming. And it was like you're in this little bubble of just like these ultra fit, not even just the athletes, but their families too. It was really cool.
Yeah. It makes conversation a lot easier too. when you're around a bunch of fit guys, when you are the fit guy, sometimes it's like we don't have a lot to talk about,
And nobody's, there's no ego. It's
Yeah.
kind of like Arete, like at the summits. It's like nobody's trying to impress anybody. It's just everyone wants to learn from other people and like, how do you get better? And what are these little like micro things you can do, whether it's in business or in athletics to get better? And like nobody's trying to impress anybody. They're there to learn and get better and get coached, and like it's just a different environment when you're.
Yeah, I think that's where you gain the most too, right?
Yeah,
when you're able to teach other people what you do, they're learning, and then so they're like, oh yeah, here's what I do here, here's what I do there, and then you start picking up a few things. So with fitness too, it's always nice to have,
totally.
If you can combine business and fitness like you're doing in the triathlon world, that's pretty cool.
It's so much fun.
Yeah,
I mean, it's so addicting. So
now, in a positive sense, how is fitness and being a fit dude and being a triathlete, how does that impact your business? Like, how much does it positively impact your business? I'm not even going to say does it negatively, but how much does it positively impact your business? And what would you say to people that don't work out?
Ooh, that's a good question. First, I'll say I'll borrow from Michael Scott from The Office. It's incalculable. No, it just like being healthy, eating wise and fitness wise. It's so helpful in business. I mean, it's the ultimate like stress reliever. Like no matter how bad your day is going or how much stress you have going or just things are going wrong, like just to take that break and work out, it just like relieves all that. So I mean, and it puts you in a good mindset and gives you energy. I mean, there's just so many things to it. And then to your question of people that don't work out, that's a good one. I just can't say enough just the benefits of working out. And it makes you, the more you're exercising and working out, the cleaner you want to eat, because it's like, geez, I'm putting in all this work, I'm not going to eat this junk because it'll just ruin what I just worked on. So it's kind of not a vicious circle, but like a positive circle. Yeah. And the biggest thing is just to take the first step and like do something. And probably the biggest advice too is like, figure out something you can be consistent at, whether it's when people talk about dieting and things like that. I think it's just such a bad way to think about it. To just try to think like, what's my eating plan? Like, how am I going to eat for the rest of my life? And then you don't have to make drastic changes, but just like incremental things that you can consistently do forever. Not, I'm going to do this for a month, I'm going to do this thing for a week, but like, what can I do for the rest of my life? Like, this is how I eat, or this is how I work out, or rather than just, joining a gym for the first time and, working out 7 days as hard as you can. And then you're out of commission for 2 weeks. So you can't move. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's just the consistency and like in developing those habits and, I don't know. I think once you kind of get in the groove and kind of take those first steps, the same thing in like business. I mean, just like those first steps, and it multiplies over time. Yeah. Nothing happens overnight, whether it's success in business or fitness or anything in life. It's making the right choices over and over and over again, and then they just multiply. And consistency is huge. And I think a lot of the benefits of fitness in the business world is mental energy. Like that your brain is awake all of a sudden. Everybody has those days where we have like here in our family, we have a cheat day, and it's an ugly day. We don't really talk a lot. We sit in couches, we eat a lot of junk food. We watch movies, right? Do those kinds of things. But I mean, the food is pretty ugly. It's pretty bad. So we eat all this junk food and we feel terrible. In the first part of the day, everyone's like, this is going to be great. We're going to eat we're going to eat donuts. We're going to have burritos. This is going to be awesome. Halfway through the day, everyone's just kind of like staring off at each other. You're like, what do you want to watch now? I don't care. What do you want to watch? So it's that mental energy, but then the rest of the week, you're eating better foods. Yeah. You're active. You guys have this mental energy. So I can't imagine eating that junk food every day. And I know guys that they seem to do fine
waking up and having a couple donuts, maybe running to McDonald's, right? Grabbing some McDonald's with some Starbucks matched up,
Yeah.
But can you imagine how much better you would perform had you just not eaten that and eaten a healthier meal too?
Totally. And I don't know, it's so tough because there's so many people that are just like stuck in that and they don't think you can change. Like anybody, it's like these triathlons. I always say, which is totally true. Anybody can do a triathlon. Anybody can run a marathon. You just have to decide you want to, and then you'll take the steps to make it happen.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with working out or eating healthy. Like anybody can do it. It really does come down to just making the choice for yourself, not for your girlfriend or your wife or your boyfriend or husband or for your family. It's like you got to make it for yourself and make the commitment to yourself. But anybody can do it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm not saying it's easy.
Yeah.
Just to start with some small step in the right direction, and it just multiplies.
Yeah, absolutely. And think of it like in a business sense too. Because a lot of people, the actual thought of exercising, when they look at a guy like you, they're like, I will never be like that. That's going to take 8 hours of working out every single day for the rest of my life. I'm never going to get there. This is never going to work. So they just quit, right? However, think of it in a business sense. Let's say you want to do real estate, right? You don't know how to do anything with real estate, but it's a big deal. I mean, you want to give it this thing a shot. Where do you start? Okay, I don't know anything about it, but what could I do today? What's the one thing I can do today that would get me started on this track, right? I don't know. Let's go to Zillow and find out what houses are selling for in my neighborhood. Boom. You're already on your way, right? Now you're a real estate. You're starting towards your real estate career. Now that's an easy way of doing it because anyone can just type that in. It's just as easy in fitness, right? Substitute that lunch you were going to get today at McDonald's for a healthy meal, maybe a salad with some chicken on it, right? It's that simple. It's that small. Now you're eating right, right? Now you're a person who eats right. Forget what you did at breakfast. Now you're a person who's eating right. At lunch, you showed up to lunch and ate right. That's what I do now, right?
Yeah, right.
I eat really healthy lunches. That's just what I do. So it's much more simple. And if we take it in more of an incremental, I guess, process, you can get to some pretty crazy levels.
Totally. Yeah. You can decide I'm just eating a healthy lunch every day forever.
Yes.
Breakfast and dinner might be garbage, but like lunch, I'm fine with lunch.
Yeah.
And
every single day. It's just what I do.
It becomes the habit. And then, okay, what can I do next? Well, how about breakfast too? And I think eating, like drinking, like pop or soda or whatever. In Minnesota, we call it pop, but like
dude, I just had that conversation with someone yesterday on the plane. The Midwesterners call it pop, and the Southerners here in the southern part of the country call it soda. So
but like funny. Just drinking your calories, like that's the worst. Like that, it's just so easy to do, and like I think that's what gets people in the most trouble. Like it's rather than like even it's bad food, you chewing it like just slows you down versus just like drinking and drinking and drinking.
You don't feel it with the soda or with the sugary drinks. You just don't feel it. Yeah, even those energy drinks. I'm like, man, one day I was drinking. I had to go to. I didn't get my normal caffeine, so I went to the gas station and got like a energy drink, and I looked at the sugar content on that thing.
Yeah,
dude, I don't eat that much sugar in a week. So honestly, I was like, I'm just going to go without caffeine, dude. I can't do this.
Yeah.
Like that was insane. Like there's so much sugar in those things. I had no idea. So get the sugar-free option if you have to.
Yeah.
If you're doing the caffeine drinks, get the sugar-free option. But
I will say, and I'm not like selling this, but like these are called Gurus.
Okay.
It's an all-natural plant-based energy drink.
Okay.
And it is a slight addiction. It might be a guilty pleasure, but they taste really good. They're energy drink, but it's natural plant-based things, which I'm sure you're laughing hearing me say that, but it's true. And I'm addicted to them.
What about the sugar? Any sugar in that stuff?
So they have different flavors.
Okay.
The one I like the best does have a fair amount of sugar in it.
Okay.
But other than that, I don't really eat sugar.
Yeah.
But this one's got a little sugar in it. But the other flavors, they just don't taste as good to me. But they have like hardly any sugar.
Yeah.
And there's one that's got no sugar. And it's just
Guru. That's what it's called, you said?
Guru, yeah. Guru or RU.
Okay. If you have Guru in your area,
Yeah,
go to the
I
gas
just
station.
buy them off Amazon.
Oh, okay. Or just get them off Amazon.
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
they're trouble, but they're
Yeah.
very.
I think the good people at Guru are very happy you said that.
I don't want to send people in the wrong direction if that's going to go off the wagon. But like I don't drink any coffee. I don't do any caffeine other than Guru.
Okay. Yeah, caffeine's my vice, man. If I have a weakness, it is caffeine.
Uh-huh.
No question about it. If I have a weakness, it is definitely caffeine. That's probably an issue. That's probably a problem I should address. But
I'll tell you this. Here's an unlock for workouts that like when I change my workouts, I always try to just do one little thing,
Mhm.
just so I know like that's the result of like the change in how I feel. So I went a couple weekends ago to like who Wim Hof is, the Iceman.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. So I went to like a Wim Hof seminar or like thing where we did all this stuff. But one of the things they said was if you go in cold plunge for 2 minutes is all you need. I've been doing 3 right before your workout. It will astronomically increase your output to the extent that some college teams and pro teams are now doing this, and they're called cold gloves because your hands get cold first when you're out in the cold.
Yeah.
So they do their workouts about halfway through, they slip these gloves on that are freezing cold, cools down their body, and then continue their workout. And it's not like you just get a couple more reps, like it triples your output, they say,
No
for like
kidding.
these pro people. So I've been going my club happens to have a cold plunge pool at it. So I go in for 3 minutes and I do my workout. I've done it for almost 2 months now. It's unbelievable. I can lift heavier and more
Really?
reps, and you just feel just energized.
Whole body.
Almost,
You're in there from the neck down.
yeah. So I do it from the
Okay.
neck down, and I actually bought my hands get super cold. So I actually bought like
Yeah.
thermal gloves to wear while I'm in there. But it's almost like you took a pre-workout and you're just like energized, but it's just from the cold, and it releases those endorphins, adrenaline, all this stuff in your body. In my workouts, I'm having the best workouts I've ever had in my entire life. I'm like, that's my latest little tweak on my workout.
That's crazy. I go to Lifetime too, so I'm gonna have to go check to see if they have a cold plunge pool.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't see one. Out here, I guess it's kind of like Minnesota. You could just jump in the pool outside.
Right.
Yeah. Freeze. So,
I love Denver. It's such an awesome place.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I have nothing bad to say about that place.
Yeah.
Right. All right, Kip, how can people get hold of you? People they want to contact you, they want to work with you, just talk shop, learn about triathlons. How can they get hold of you?
Yeah, so Kip Knippel is my name. So Kip up here, and then Knippel is Knip, P as in Paul, EL. And so on every social media platform, it's just Kip Knippel. So the ones I'm really on are LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok. I do Facebook only for Arete, so like nobody else can see me on Facebook because I don't hate Facebook. And then I was on Instagram, but got off of that. My Instagram actually got hacked like
oh no
3 times, and then this has happened to some other people in Arete too. People like replicated my account, like they changed my name. Instead of Kip Knippel, it was like Kip.Knippel, and they actually took pictures off of my profile and like my words, my posts, and like had them on there, and then we're like reaching out to other people on Arete. So anyway, I'm off Instagram for right now. But anyway, it's just Kip Knippel on every single social media platform, or you can go to Kip Search, and like that's got all my contact info too, and connection to all my social platforms. But yeah, I just have embraced the Gary Vee model. I just try to create lots of content on all the platforms all the time, and just like add value. I'm not like selling myself or what we do. I'm just trying to like add value and continue to do that, and get better over time, and it becomes kind of fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, I need to do better at LinkedIn. It's not a place I go very often. I'll get like in these spurts where I'll update my profile and add a few things, and then I go like a few weeks without it.
Yeah. Like what's the main one you use?
Right now, Facebook. Facebook, man, is where everybody goes. If anyone needs to get hold of me, it's Facebook. I get tons of messages on Facebook. Everything's on Facebook. Instagram, I'd say, would be number 2. And then maybe like YouTube might be number 3.
Okay. Yeah, I'm on YouTube now too. Like YouTube Shorts. I've been trying to crank a lot of stuff out. But like if you take whatever you're doing on Facebook, put the exact same thing on LinkedIn, like that might be a small start for you, because LinkedIn is unbelievable. Like it's like what Facebook was like 5 years ago. Like that's the organic reach on LinkedIn. Really, LinkedIn and TikTok, like those are the biggest organic reach platforms there.
I'm on TikTok too. I am on TikTok, but I mean, it's all just podcast stuff, right?
Yeah,
It's like the shorts from YouTube and from Instagram get sent to TikTok. I don't really do much on TikTok.
Yeah.
I got to add a few things there. I'll add some things on TikTok. We'll figure that out. Cool. Kip, here's the big question. Here's the big question I ask everybody. Are you ready?
Ready.
Living in the big state of Minnesota, maybe it'll be out there, but we're LandLife. I buy and sell land all over the country, right? If you, Kip, could buy land anywhere in the world, anywhere in the whole world, where would it be and why?
Whew. Dang, that is the big question. Anywhere in the world?
Anywhere in the world.
That is really good. That's a good one, man. Okay, no limits.
No limits.
I'm going Dubai.
Oh, nice. He's going high dollar.
Yeah. Because that's all owned by the royal family, whatever. And like all the land is, and then it's just leased back to people. But like they still own the land and getting paid on it. Like, give me some of that.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're the guy, you're the royal family guy. You're gonna get the payments.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So what are we gonna do? Put one of those little I don't know, they have like land that looks like an island or looks like the world, right? They have those little islands out there, and then you can I guess manicure whatever you want out there.
Yeah.
They have like some big huge tunnel now and all kinds of like indoor ski resorts. You could put all kinds of stuff on there.
So yeah, I'm gonna say Dubai.
Okay. Dubai it is.
Yeah.
Dubai it is. Kip, thank you so much, man.
Thank you.
I appreciate it, buddy. Have fun training up there. And next time you run for Senate, let us know.
All right. Yeah. That's a big no-go.
Right on, man. It was good talking to you, buddy.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Take care, man.
Bye.